Okay, y'all, I am so excited. We have got a really awesome guest today. Please welcome Evita Basilio to our show, and she is going to share something really cool with y'all. I won't get into too much, but welcome to the show, Evita.
Thank you so much, Adrian. I'm super excited to be here with you today.
Oh, I'm so excited. So before we get into all the goodies you're going to share, tell us your story. Tell us all the greatness about you. How did you get to where you are today?
I love that. So, like Adrian Nucky said, my name is Evita. I'm a registered dietitian at That Clean Life, which is a nutrition planning software for high performance health professionals designed to help these professionals give beautiful nutrition guidance. So, a little bit about how I got here is I've worked in several areas of nutrition and dietetics, including mostly clinical work in both inpatient and outpatient care and in long-term care. And I've always been drawn to nutrition technology. And as our nutrition space and what we are able to achieve within it and for clients is only as powerful as the tools that we have to create and deliver information, we know that one size does not fit all when it comes to nutrition. So delivering a personalized experience that makes your clients feel seen, heard, and cared for is so important. So when I worked in clinical settings with patient populations, for example, who had recently been diagnosed with a medical condition requiring them to think about food in a different way, or with families with food allergies, populations who were just getting started with meal prep, or patients looking to build a healthy relationship with food, I quickly saw that the need for nutrition planning software to create these materials, either meal plans or recipe books or collections, or even teaching your clients how to meal plan. This is all very time consuming if you don't have the tools or the software to do it. So that's how I found That Clean Life and slowly got into working for the company. And I love using it with my clients, and I love being able to share this with health professionals. So through flexible nutrition planning, so meal plans, recipe books, or collections, this nutrition software really empowers health professionals with the tools to provide nutrition guidance in the most beautiful and simplest way.
Oh man, I have just so many questions, but I love what you said of how nutrition communication is only as powerful as the technology behind it. So what
Totally.
like got you so jazzed about nutrition technology? Is that what you would call it?
Yeah. Probably working in healthcare settings for so long, I've had experience using data technology.
Mm.
So back in the day, if you're any, maybe you're doing it right now, if you're a listener, is when we were meal planning, we were using things like Word and Excel and doing all the math by hands for looking up recipes, doing our own nutrition analysis. Um, Very time consuming, doesn't look professional. Your clients kind of look at the resource you create them, and most likely they're going to throw it in the bin. It doesn't look good. It doesn't probably doesn't taste good. You found this recipe online that's not vetted. So that kind of got me thinking of, there's got to be a better way. And kind of there are now. There are so many tools and software options that are coming out, things like That Clean Life, that can help you make this a really simpler process. So for example, with That Clean Life, you can create these custom branded plans. So again, has all of your information, your logo, your business information, beautiful food photography, delicious recipes, itemized shopping list. So again, shopping lists, which you might have been writing out by hand before, might have gotten something wrong. It's all done for you now. That's where software comes in. Prep guides, scientific evidence, personalized notes. So you are creating resources that are fully customized to your client's needs, and you can do all of this without having to spend hours on it. So I think that's like really the power of software and technology now, which I am all for. And I think, yeah, if you want to move your business forward, you need to have the right tools in order to do that, because if you want to scale your business, serve more clients, impact more lives, earn more money, um, software can help you do that and achieve more in less time.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah.
yes, I think that's like all of our listeners are just like, yes, I need this. I need this. But I love that you are kind of, like you were saying, like creating this shopping list by hand and you're like, it doesn't look pretty. It's my scribbling. Probably for me, half of it was misspelled. And the effectiveness of getting somebody to actually try a recipe, do this at home from a hand scribbled, not very pretty thing is not actually going to happen. And so you're not going to see those behavior changes. So with
Totally.
that clean life, like, have you guys seen better outcomes with patients?
Mhm.
Because one, it looks pretty and it's tasty. Like, what have you guys seen?
Yeah. So practitioners who use that clean life, they use it in several ways. So they use it in their one-on-one consults, group programs, workshops, cooking classes, grocery store tours. Many offer it as an add-on service or in their meal planning
Mm.
subscription sites to create digital downloads like ebooks, or even as lead magnets or resources in their free challenges to attract clients. Um, so the benefit of this, so love it or hate it, meal plans are a scientifically proven tool to help clients reach their
Mhm.
goals. And there's a reason why clients are asking for meal plans, and that's because they work. So we've seen a lot of our members say that their clients are really able to increase their dietary adherence, improve their health goals when following these sorts of plans. Meal planning is an important skill that contributes to an individual's ability to acquire and prepare nutritious food. So people who meal plan, we found that they typically are able to choose healthier foods and consume a healthier diet, and they're more likely to, again, have that better dietary quality and adherence with nutritional guidelines. For example, let's say you have a client with gastroesophageal reflux disease. You give them a list of trigger foods to avoid, like acidic foods, carbonated beverages, coffee, alcohol, chocolate, mint, spicy foods, all of this, and you tell them to eat more fiber and healthy fats. But okay, many people don't have the time to sit down and make themselves a plan with a
Uh-huh.
grocery list. They don't know where to like you don't know what to eat, where to find these recipes for these recommendations that you've provided. And another challenge can be food preferences or dietary restrictions. So meal planning becomes harder and more complex when dealing with specific food preferences and allergies within a family. So you're telling them to eat more healthy fats, but maybe someone in their family is allergic to nuts and they're looking up healthy fat options and they're seeing nuts and they don't know what to do. So clients who seek professional help with their nutrition, they're not looking for cookie cutter solutions. They want an individualized approach that takes into consideration their individual unique needs. So they much prefer to have a plan that is made specifically for them as opposed to a generic plan or a general plan that tries to please everyone. So what a meal plan does is it takes the nutrition guidance you're giving and it turns it into easy to follow into an easy to follow plan for your clients. And I want to be clear too that meal planning can happen in various ways. Sure,
Mhm.
it can be a schedule of meals, but it can also mean teaching your clients how to create their own meal plans. It can be providing your clients with a collection of recipes for them to pick and choose from in a more relaxed and unstructured ways. So connecting clients to the right nutrition plan can really help them be more successful, and making your clients successful is really matters because we're a firm believer that happy successful clients are the most powerful sales and marketing tool you can ever have as a nutrition business.
Oh, 100%. And so, okay, it sounds like it's so easy. And I guess my like, but what if and what if? So we have these like easy to follow meal plans.
Mhm.
And so we have somebody that comes in with GERD and we give them uh, um, access to that clean life. Will that decrease them coming to see us? That's what I hear a
Mhm.
lot of our listeners saying, like, oh, will this decrease people coming to see me and then it's going to decrease my revenue? Oh, no.
I say absolutely not, because they're when a client comes to you, you give them, so ideally you'd give them, you want to start with maybe giving them some recipes to choose from for GERD, let's say.
Mhm.
So ideas for breakfast, lunches, dinners, then maybe you give them a full 1 week meal plan, which they can implement for a
Mm.
week. They start to see the positive changes. They start to see the effects that your nutrition recommendations and plan is having. Then you go move further on to teach them the skills to meal plans. You give them a blank template with recipes, and they can go directly into the software and start to move those recipes around. So you're providing the tools and techniques, and when they start to see those positive results, they're going to stay on with you because you are having that positive impact in their life. So you can, when you share resources using that clean life, such as your meal plans, recipe books, or meal planning guides with clients, you can do this through a single secure link, right? And so the client goes right into
Oh.
our software. They have this interactive experience where they can update their plan, change their serving sizes, even build their own meal plans. And you as a practitioner can see the changes your client's making to their plan and provide feedback in real time. So you're kind of helping teach them how to teach those skills to implement for their future, but you can give them feedback too, and the clients will really appreciate that. So you're not giving them some
Mm.
cookie cutter plan that they take home, they follow for 1 week, and they never come back to you.
Yeah.
It's kind of an ongoing relationship where you're helping them build those tools and those skills.
I love that. And I think so. I'm going through like my Rolodex of patients and everything. And I hear, so we see a lot of disordered eating disorder patients in our practice.
Mhm.
And especially with kiddos, parents are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to feed them. They aren't really enjoying food. And where do I even begin? So does that clean life really help with disordered eating disorders, picky eating? How does it kind of
Yeah.
interact so it's not good, bad, right, wrong food? It's just, we're going to try to build a healthy relationship with food.
Yes, absolutely. So, a big part of my career has been working in acute mental health with psychiatric illnesses and eating disorder
Oh.
management. And so I've used That Clean Life in not giving structured meal plans. There's a time and place for meal plans, a time and place for recipe books or meal planning guides. And so typically I found with eating disorder patients that I've provided recipe ideas. So when a
Mm.
client, is trying to build that healthy relationship with food, you're working on that psychological side on one end, and then on the other end, you're trying to find foods that they're more interested in trying, more interested in applying, and recipe books and collections can really come handy for that. It makes it really exciting. You provide them ideas for, maybe they're trying to introduce kale now into their diet, or you know what? Let's not say kale, it's potatoes, whatever it might be, rice,
Yeah,
who
I was like,
knows?
it's always kale. How
I
about
know
some,
kale
like,
is the
how
most
about French
generic
fries or
example. I'm
something?
like, listen, I'm not trying to juice kale in my
I
and we
love
also
it.
believe that all foods fit. So Dr. Lai's recipe database, it caters to not only different diet types, but also different cultural recipes, different ways of eating. We find that it really needs to be personalized to your client, really unique to your client. We don't believe in good foods, bad foods. It's really an old way of nutrition thinking. It's an inclusive platform that really cares about your different types of clients that you serve and ensures that that there are recipes for every type of client. So depending on what your client's trying to introduce into their diet, especially in eating disorder management, find recipes that work. So with our filters, you can find like including ingredients, excluding ingredients based on cooking methods. So maybe your client only has access to, or maybe only wants to try one pan recipes that maybe they're new to cooking. So again, get those potatoes on there, whatever that food that they're trying, give them a collection of one pan recipes that include potatoes. And they're going to feel inspired, they're going to feel supported, and they're not going to feel like you're triggering them in a way that
Mm.
is just providing that structured plan. And again, you can include or exclude nutrition facts on all of our resources. So
Ah,
if you want to, maybe leave that off, that's an option too. And it doesn't need to be triggering in any way.
that's amazing. Oh my gosh. Like that totally just made my day. I love that. Okay. So we're like, okay, we need this for our practice. It's just another tool in our toolbox to help us to serve our patients, to get them to try new foods. What does it actually look like if like, I guess adding it into our practice? Like how would I start?
Yeah, for sure. So um, first off, like I want to talk about the ways that
Okay.
practitioners include that in their services. So maybe that can give the listeners, if you're
Okay.
listening,
That would
an
be
idea
wonderful.
of how, maybe what service you have and the way that it's included. And I'll give you some examples too of what health professionals are currently doing or practitioners are doing. So just get that imagination and creativity sparked. So we found that practitioners, one, use Duckling Life in a variety of ways in their practice, but they're also monetizing it in a variety of ways because that's an
Ooh,
important
tell me
piece, right?
more. Tell me more.
So we found that practitioners are incorporating meal planning right into their services and charging extra for this compared to what they typically charge. So let's say you're meal planning for clients one-on-one, because this is the most common way we see meal plans used by practitioners. So a client comes to you with a specific problem, and instead of giving them verbal advice, you can provide them with a meal plan, which includes recipes and an itemized shopping list that will help them take the nutrition guidance you're giving and make it a lot easier for them to implement. So they won't need to wonder, what can I eat? Because you've provided them with a plan that takes the guesswork out of it. So whether you choose to include meal planning into your services or charge an add-on fee, it depends on your client's needs. Both are great options. We found that health professionals who offer meal planning as an add-on service, on average, they charge $75 for a 1 week plan, but the
Okay.
cost ranges significantly, with some practitioners charging up to $380 for a
Holy
1 week plan.
bananas.
Yeah, so it's a big range there. Some health professionals also offer custom meal plans as a package deal. So if you want to, maybe again, like you had mentioned, Adrian, is, how clients might take their 1 week plan and not come back to you. So
Yeah.
maybe package deals might work better then. So some practitioners do 4 weeks worth of meal plans. That's a common offering. And on average, they'll charge $190 for this, all the way to $800. So again, huge range there. And if you're wondering why there's a huge range, we noticed that practitioners who are more established, whose services are in higher demand, or who offer meal planning for more complex patients, they tend to charge a bit more for custom meal plans than those who are just starting out or who don't really specialize, so maybe more general plans.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so if you had to create this in That Clean Life, you can. What we do is we also have an assessment tool. So it's just at thatcleanlife.com under resources. So you conduct an assessment with your clients, you find out exactly what they need. And I can't stress enough how important it is to conduct a thorough assessment with your clients to find out exactly what works for them. You go into That Clean Life, you would filter to there's different ways you can create a meal plan within That Clean Life. Either you filter to find the right recipes and add this to a curated plan, or you can use our automator function where you enter the client's nutrition needs. So you can enter their calories and macro needs if needed, or as well as their dietary types, restrictions. So for example, dairy-free, gluten-free, nightshade-free, or if they're looking specifically for Indian recipes or Caribbean recipes or one pan or slow cooker, whatever it might be. So you can filter for all of those items, and using the automator, it automatically generates a plan for you. So 2 ways you can create a plan, but you can also create a recipe collection, or like I said, that meal planning guide where you could give them a template and those recipes in there. And then you share that with your client. Really important that you get continuous feedback so that for the next week that you work with them, again, you're creating a plan that works for them. So that's one-on-one consults, but you can also use it in group nutrition programs, online courses. So you can create handouts and materials for these items. So if you run a group nutrition program, whether that's online or maybe even a corporate wellness program, great opportunity to incorporate meal planning. And we've heard from members of That Clean Life who have been able to enroll their clients in their programs and courses simply because of the meal plans alone. So people really love having a concrete meal plan to follow. And I found that meal plans in group programs, they also help foster a sense of community. So the group can, share pictures of what they're eating, what recipes they love. It really gets people talking. So that's one-on-one group nutrition programs. Yeah.
I was thinking when you're saying like group nutrition or classes, like this week we're going to learn why carbohydrates are so important, and then having like a meal plan with different types of grains and carbohydrates and all of that, and then like, how do you actually cook farro and make it taste good? I have no idea. I'm not the cooking dietitian. So I think like that's so great. And I think too, a lot of our listeners might be like me and not the cooking dietitian. And when patients ask for recipes, I'm like, I don't know, Pinterest. That just makes it so much easier, legit, and like you said, beautiful. And like they'll actually do it.
Exactly. And you want to give them something tangible to follow. Like you said, in those group nutrition programs, or even if you're doing one-on-one counseling and you're teaching them certain concepts, they're like, cool, now how do I implement all of these recommendations, all of these things that I've learned? And clients just find more value when they're able to get a resource that they're able to implement, that they're, some take-home assignment or something that they can take home and work on and do and try and taste and see that nutrition can be fun and delicious and simple.
Yes.
With That Clean Life too, you can, when you're filtering for recipes, you can filter by time and number of ingredients. So you can find really easy recipes to make for example, under 30 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it might be. You can find no cook options. You can find recipes that use 5 ingredients. And we're not the kind of platform that says 5 ingredients, but then the recipe ends up being 15. It's truly 5 when you filter by the number of ingredients. And we also have pre-made programs. So using our pre-made programs, for example, say you don't want to create a plan, or maybe you're a little bit nervous about creating a specific plan. We've got pre-made programs that are dietitian approved also. And they're based on different medical conditions, for example, GERD or brain health, skin health, arthritis, heart health. So you don't need to also go in and create a plan yourself. We've got plans that are created that with scientific evidence attached to it. So you can just copy over those programs and share that in your group, or when you're one-on-one consults, you can edit them or swap recipes to make it more personalized if you want. So we make it really easy. We've also found that some practitioners, maybe you don't want to offer meal planning in your group. You don't want to do maybe personalized nutrition planning, I'll say. So you can also, we found another way practitioners integrate meal planning into their service is just using, by selling digital downloads. So
Yeah.
if you have a website, you can set up a shop section on your website, have like ready to go resources available for clients and leads. If you don't want to offer meal planning, or perhaps a client isn't a right fit for a custom meal plan, you can always refer them to your online shop where you list one of your several ready to go digital downloads. So over
Mm.
there, again, I really want to add pricing because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Is so if you're selling like a generic or not customized plan, you can maybe even charge a bit lower and get leads to see what you have to
Mm.
offer. So it's a good, like it lowers the barrier to entry if someone's like nervous to buy a custom meal plan for you for a higher cost. So
Mm-hmm.
we found that practitioners will charge anywhere from $20 to $97.
Mm-hmm.
So again, these are kind of like a one size fits all resource. They're not customized to clients' needs, but you can charge more if you're doing a customized plan. And or some practitioners will do a bundle of meal plans together for
Mm.
sale on their online shop. So 6 to 8 weeks of meal plans priced anywhere between $150 to $200. And recipe books, another common offering for digital downloads. Recipe books
Mm.
can sell anywhere between $8 to $90, depending on what's
Yeah.
included. For example, you could have on your website, you could do a recipe book with like say 20 healthy snack ideas. That would be priced lower than something like 101 low FODMAP breakfast,
Yeah.
lunches, and dinners. But so that's another option. And meal plans and recipe books are also a great lead generation or marketing tool. So creating a short sample meal plan related to your niche or small recipe book, that it's a great way to attract clients, to give them an idea of what it's like to work with you. Clients typically do not commit to working with a practitioner right away. They first must get to know, like, and trust you before they buy. So creating a free offer like a meal plan or recipe book, that's a really great way to connect with potential clients who need your services and provide value right off the get-go.
Oh my gosh. As you're saying that, of like recipe books, like recipes are freaking expensive. Like, because
Yeah.
again, I'm not a cooking dietitian, and I looked into like, oh, what would it cost to have somebody write a recipe? One recipe is so expensive to have somebody write. And
Mm-hmm.
so to be able to create your own downloadable recipe book for patients, that's insane. Like to me, I'm like, holy bananas, that's just so easy. And every patient asks for, oh, I need a recipe, or I love the idea of 101 FODMAP snacks. Like that's amazing. I think all
Yeah.
of our GI doctors would want that. So I think it's even like not only marketing to patients, but also referral providers of just like, oh,
Totally.
here is some things that you could download from our website and share with your patients if needed. So I love that. I've also, I got a call yesterday from just a general practitioner, general physician wanting to snack ideas for their pediatric population. I'm like, Cheerios? I don't know. That's what I give my little guy. So
That was, that was me before, is like someone would ask for ideas and I'm like thinking about every recipe I've ever made or going online and quickly looking up or Pinterest, like you had
yeah.
said. And now you can say, okay, well, they need, let's say those snack ideas. So go into that clean life, put in a tag snack limited to, I don't know, 3 ingredients. The kid loves cheese, include cheese. And there you go. You just, and then add them to a collection, export it, or share the link with the client or the doctor, whoever is asking for it. It literally takes minutes, and you're
That's
getting tried
amazing.
and trusted recipes, which I think is really important. So all of our recipes are made in-house by our in-house recipe developers who are also health professionals. So and these recipes are tried by their families, they're tried by that Clean Life staff. So we know that it tastes good. We know we've done the full nutrition analysis as well. So it's trusted in that way for nutrition information. As well as it looks beautiful. So that photography is done by these recipe developers who do professional photography as well. So again, really, it just like cuts down the work.
Oh
It's
my
to me, it's
gosh.
it's a bit of a no-brainer.
seriously. And I love that it's tested recipes. And oh my gosh, I'm sure that recipe testing day in the office is delicious. Because there's so many times, I mean, there's a whole hashtag Pinterest fails of like, well, they made the recipe look like this and it looks nothing like that when I make it, and it doesn't even taste good because it's never been tested. So I love that you guys are actually testing the recipes. That to me, that's just wonderful. And so as a provider, I know that I can trust that, okay, this is actually going to taste really good. The flavors are really going to pop. So, oh, that's wonderful.
I think it's so important as a practitioner to know that your reputation is everything, and your reputation with other practitioners or with your clients. And so the resources that you're providing, obviously they need to look good, but they also need to be trustworthy and reliable. And so when you're pulling recipes just from the internet, you don't know, and that can be really risky to provide your clients. They might not come back to you if they're like, hey, this failed, but also it didn't taste good, or whatever might have happened, or maybe there's an error in there. There's, again, maybe there's a nut allergy and there's accidentally nuts in there. You didn't foolproof that recipe when you looked on Pinterest. So that's a big risk. And now they're like, oh, this person doesn't know what they're doing. But all of our recipes, again, they're like double checked for tags and things like that, to make sure that when you search for a recipe, you can confidently say, this is a nut-free, dairy-free, whatever, low oxalate maybe recipe, that it fits exactly what your client needs for their restrictions, for their diet that they're following, for any intolerances, sensitivities, all of that.
I love that. I had a patient one time that was allergic to tomatoes. Oh my gosh, bless her heart. Every time I would come up with ideas of like what she needed to try, it always had tomatoes in it. Like, oh my God, I'm going to kill you. And so we had like just a running joke of just like any recipe I come up with is just going to be awful. So it was one of those, we always had a really hard time trying new things because I couldn't think of a recipe that didn't have tomatoes in it that she would prefer. And so to be able to sort recipes like no tomatoes feels so
Exclude
nice.
Tomatoes. Or if you're not sure like which items are gluten-free or which grains, you're not going to have this like running list of it in your head. Maybe use the tag gluten-free in the software, and now you confidently have all these gluten-free recipes to send your client.
I love it. So Evita, is there other things that we should be mindful of or look at when kind of evaluate? Because there are, like you said, there's a lot of different meal planning softwares out there. Is there anything that we need to be mindful of, or just when choosing one? I know you're a little biased, but I wanted to know, like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think like look through the different nutrition planning software websites and find what works for you. Each one has a different value proposition. I can tell you what makes us different, and how we use our software and how we cater to our members. And one of the things that we do is really take into consideration member feedback. So for example, if our members are looking for certain programs or recipes or features in the software, we take that into consideration. So look at what the different softwares have. I of course I am biased, but I also think you have to find what works for you. I think that's the important piece. So maybe if there's certain dietary, like if you work with a specific patient population and maybe that thing like doesn't offer that diet in our recipes, or we don't offer it yet, reach out to us and let us know. But find one that works specifically for your patient population and the types of resources you're trying to create and how you're trying to share those with your clients. So for example, maybe you want all your client information stored in the software, then you're looking for maybe something that has an EMR incorporated, or you're looking specifically for recipes that meet a certain diet, then you want to maybe find one that's their niche. So different, like look at what your clients need and look at what you're trying to create and how you're trying to share that with your client.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
but
love
no red
it.
flags.
Yeah,
I think every software is so different and unique, and find what works for you and for your patient population.
That's wonderful. So at the end of every show, I always like to ask, what kind of advice would you give our listeners that are like, thinking about this or starting out? What any advice that you can give us?
Good question. I'm going to say, do less instructing and more listening to center your client's voice. So as nutrition professionals, while you may know You may know that you may have the nutrition science and the knowledge needed to guide and empower the client. The client's still an expert when it comes to their personal health, their culture, their symptoms, their food preferences. So it's really important that we listen to our clients and learn from both their food traditions, their nutrition needs, their health goals. We shouldn't presume to know everything about people's beliefs and practices regarding diet, health, and education. Instead, just being more open to learning by demonstrating respectful inquiry and empathy. So I can't stress enough, again, conduct a thorough nutrition assessment with your client. Really sit down and practice active listening to understand like what they need before you jump into creating a plan for them. Whether that plan is a meal plan or a recipe book, whatever it might be, or just a plan of recommendations, really listening and understanding and then doing the work to figure out what your client needs, and centering their voice, and not just using our pre-assumptions that we all have, and then again asking for regular feedback. So this is what's going to create a really strong, useful plan for them. We always hear too that practitioners might say, well, my client, I gave them a meal plan, or I gave them a plan to follow and they didn't follow it, and so they're not cooperative, or those sorts of words are thrown around where the client is not participative in their, or not engaging in their practice. But it's really it's on the practitioner to be able to understand what the client needs and be able to provide recommendations and a plan that they will follow based on where they're at. And so usually using those motivational interviewing skills, understanding their stage of behavior change. So a bit of a more of a practitioner facing recommendation.
Yes.
But also as like a business way, is your business won't succeed if you don't listen to your clients. So
100%, 100%.
Yes.
I love that advice, because I think it's so true. Like we're like, this patient is non-compliant. When we're like, well, did you do your job as the dietitian? Are you like listening? Are you critically thinking? And so I love that advice. It's just absolutely perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, like the non-compliance is a word that, always think, whenever you think your patient's non-compliant, think about the barriers that's impeding them from following what you're doing and from preventing them from accessing the resources you're providing. So sometimes too, if you're like, we'll have, a practitioner might create a plan and it's really expensive to follow. That grocery list is long and costly. So your client did not follow the plan. Maybe you need to use those filters a bit better to understand what your client can access and afford. So that's also really important for us at That Clean Life. So our recipes are really simple and use as much as we can. We have a lot of recipes that use affordable ingredients. So, in today's world, inflation is crazy and grocery prices are skyrocketing. Something to consider too, is your plan accessible for your client, and does it actually follow their beliefs, their traditions, their cultural traditions, and so making sure that it works for them.
Yes. Meet your client where they are. And that's how they're going to feel good, be successful, and just overall really change, which is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Evita, this has been so eye-opening, so educational. I am so excited. How can we learn more about you, That Clean Life? Tell me more.
Yeah, thatcleanlife.com. You should find out all of the information there. And if you have any questions about the software, about whether it's a good fit for you, just send me an email at hello@thatcleanlife.com. I'm on standby, ready to help, ready to answer your questions. So this is the other thing is, if That Clean Life isn't a right fit for you, we'll let you know. We want happy members. We want it to work both ways. So I want you to send me an email. Tell me about your practice. Tell me about what you want to try and do with your clients, how you see incorporating nutrition planning in your practice. And I'll be able to guide you a bit further to see, how That Clean Life can fit in your practice, or maybe if it can't fit and what a better alternative might be. So thatcleanlife.com, and send me an email at hello@thatcleanlife.com.
Perfect. Well, we will have all of that in our show notes. This has been so cool. I love adding technology into practices to make life easier, faster, more efficient, and for better outcomes for patients. So thank you so much, Evita. This is awesome.
Thank you.